Hey folks, Jimmy here, aka Ballad of the Dead. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the latest issue of Warhammer Age of Sigmar Stormbringer magazine. Now, as per usual with all these videos, if you like them, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and of course, drop us a comment down below. I love hearing back from you guys and it goes a massive way to helping out the channel too. Now, this week we're on issue number 11 of Stormbringer magazine, and we are greeted by Kragnos on the front cover, and because it's Kragnos on the front cover, we get a lovely Orruk beast-skewer Killbow as our mini for the week. A really cool mini, plenty of parts to it, you know, requires an Orruk and a couple of grots to utilise it, but a pretty cool, big, essentially kind of like siege ballista style bow. Now, I personally would recommend, if you want a really decent sized Orruk army, get yourself a couple of these because they can come in handy, and 2 is always better than 1. So definitely worth picking up a second one just for the giggles of it. Why not? But yeah, really good stuff. I'm looking forward to building it. I've never had one before, and yeah, looks like it should be good fun to kind of get going with. Anyway, into the issue we go. First off, we're greeted by some lore. So all about the realm of beasts and the rise and fall of Excelsis. Excelsis is one of the most important ports in Sigmar's growing empire. It stands as a beacon of prosperity in defiance of Orruk raids, hidden cults, and the wild hazards of Ghur. The greatest treasures of Excelsis are not its armies of veteran hunters or the vast wealth of the seas, but arcane shards of metal mined from fragments of an ancient world. These shards can be used to predict the future with incredible accuracy. Now, one of the denizens of Excelsis are the Knights Excelsior, who watch over Excelsis. They are a storm host of the Stormcast Eternals, known for their zeal and ruthlessness. The Knights Excelsior are obsessed with purity at any cost, and while they are respected as defenders, they are also feared as for their merciless purges of suspected chaos cultists. Now, if you need a colour scheme for good old Stormcast Eternals, the Knights Excelsior use a white colour scheme. So they have white armour, the blue enamel pauldrons and gold, and kind of like burgundy robes and stuff like that. They're really good. I like them. They appear in a couple of stories. So they appear in the Dominion novel, which was the novel released with 3rd edition of Age of Sigmar, which this magazine is based off of. And they have also appeared in a couple of others as well. So yeah, really good stuff, and genuinely a pretty interesting storm host at the same time. Other denizens, obviously, of Excelsis include the Tzeentchian cults. So Tzeentch, the chaos god of change, wishes to take the prophetic power of Excelsis for himself, as per usual. Now, Excelsis is obviously one of the main beacons and bastions within Ghur, and they utilise and kind of allow these Dawnbringer crusades to kind of spill forth from their gates and stuff like that. We also get information about the siege of Excelsis. So Excelsis has always been at war with chaos, monsters, and even Ghur itself. The greatest battle to ever reach the city is the siege of Excelsis. Spread by the warlord Kragnos, the siege of Excelsis has seen a vast army of Orruks, Gargants, and other beasts nearly annihilate the city. The battle still rages to this day. So, Kragnos is obviously a hidden kind of god, ancient warlord. He was worshipped as a god by some, feared as a destroyer by others. He's essentially a kind of a god-beast type kind of character. Very interesting, and quite interesting read up on Kragnos as well, so definitely worth having a nosy for. If you are going to go for a Forces of Destruction army, Kragnos can be fitted into any of the Destruction armies as well, whether you're going for Gargants, whether you're going for Orruks, whether you're going for good old Ogres, entirely up to you. But yeah, really good stuff, so pretty cool. Then we move on, we get our beast-skewer Killbow page. So beast-skewer Killbows are crude but deadly ballistas used by the most skilled Kruleboyz warriors, capable of hurling massive barbed bolts through plate armour at incredible range. Beast-skewer Killbows are used by many Orruks bosses to kill monsters and pick off enemy champions. So, obviously, being a beast-skewer Killbow, as you can imagine, it has a habit for slaying beasts. Quite big, quite powerful, as you can tell by its size and length, and the fact that it requires a couple of grots and an Auric to utilise. They can, put down beasts quite easily sometimes. So, pretty good for going up against big uns. But yeah, really, really good stuff. You can choose your prey, you can do a little bit extra. Obviously, as per usual, you can even name your unit. Really, really good stuff, as per usual with this magazine. Making your army more of your own. It is always really, really good fun and quite interesting to have a crack at as well. Now, onto your how to build guide. Now, there are quite a few components to the beast-skewer Killbow. You need to make sure you are taking things steadily and slowly. If you break apart, it's not going to be an easy fix. So take your time. It is actually a push fit model, which some people don't like, but it's designed to just push together. No gluing, no kind of fiddling around. You should be able to just slot it all together and have at it and have a bit of fun with it. Yeah, entirely up to you if that's how you're going to do it, but you can do that. But otherwise, a lot of little steps to follow, so keep an eye on it, because there are quite a few little parts, including like your good old grots, your cruel boy, your grot winder, and such like. There's a lot to it, so a lot of little tiny bits and pieces. Sometimes with this type of model as well, it is easier to paint it as separate parts than painting it all in one go. But yeah, entirely up to you though if you want to do that. But otherwise, when you're done, it will look something like that. If you keep it to sub-assemblies, it'll be far easier in my honest opinion. So if you go for the sub-assembly of the Killbow itself, after painting up your base, your little grot down at the bottom, and then your Auric separate from it all, put it all together, you'll be able to paint it all up before that. So by sub-assemblies, what we obviously mean is you build certain parts first, paint it up, and then put it all together. If you do it that way, by all means you are going to get far better quality out of your paintwork. It's far easier because you can get into all them little nooks and crannies far better. If you build it all in one go, like they have there, I'm not going to lie to you, it's going to be a pain in the ass to paint, which is why they have this quiver as a separate sub-assembly. I personally would go one further, have your Auric separate, do not put them into the base until you've painted up the base, and then do it as essentially 4 sub-assemblies, and I think you'll do far better, and it'll be far easier to paint as well. Otherwise though, there is a lot to paint, so you are going to be using, if you're following the paint guide, a lot of Cast-Gen Flesh, because there's a lot of brown for this. I personally would use different shades of brown. You want something that differentiates it all, makes it look slightly different here and there. Different shades of brown will make it look far better, and will give it a crisper look as well. So that's how I would personally paint it and would paint it. But otherwise, when you're done, if you're following the magazine, you're going to have something looking similar to that. It doesn't put in that sub-assembly of a quiver in there already, which seems a little bit odd considering how early we've got it, and the fact, which is just because you're going to have to paint up a lot more stuff, which is why I suggest doing it in sub-assemblies. Paint it all up, so make sure you got all your paint colours that you feel like you want to use, because it'll make things far easier, especially with your all your different bits. But otherwise, it's a really good model. I do really like it. Moving on, we get more information from your basics of your rules, all to do with bravery and how the battle shock phase works, and how war scrolls and their bravery works for each as well. So it's definitely worth having a look through. Make sure you have a good read through it, because you will have battle shock tests during battle. You will have to deploy very carefully, and you will have other things that you need to look into because of how the game works. You need to make sure you are keeping it going. But otherwise, really good fun. You're going to enjoy it. I'm absolutely sure of it. And then you got your playthrough. So you play through, walking you through how the bravery system works for all units. So you got your Cruel Boys War Scrolls here. and you have pretty much every segment of a war scroll as well now. And then we have our Stormcast Eternals war scrolls and how they utilise. So keep an eye on it, have fun, take your time with it, practice a few times, try it a handful of times, because you'll get a far better grasp of how bravery works within the Age of Sigmar games, and I'm absolutely sure you'll be fine. And then finally, next week we get our Stormstrike Chariot, which it looks like a stupid unit to have for Stormcast Eternals. It's like, why have they finally got chariots all of a sudden, when in all honesty they've been using the Griff Chargers to ride before that. Yeah, it is what it is. It's an alright unit, though. I kind of like it. It's a weird one. I don't know why I like it, but I do. But yeah, good fun. And then issue 13 is our disappointment issue of paint. So 2 pots of paint, Mephiston Red, Wraithbone. They're very handy. They will keep us going. Yeah, they're not. Yeah, it just is what it is. Obviously, not very good value, but both very, very good colours, so definitely worth picking up. Anyway, that's it from me. Thank you very, very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye now.